Hello and welcome to the UK Education Guide's Foundation Focus webinar. I'm Raf Garcia and I'm head of the higher education aspect of the UK Education Guide. Our team comprises over 25 years of education management experience. We're approved by the BSA and we are a UCAS registered centre. And in this session, we're going to give you an overview of the UK education system and public examinations. We're going to talk briefly about why foundation programs exist, what type of foundation programs are available in the UK, and how you sort of understand and get to know the different types of foundation programs and how they might be right for you or your students. So, kicking off with an overview of the UK education system. So, in total, there are 7 years of primary school education in the UK, and these go from ages 4 to ages 11. And in the UK, we call that reception to year 6. Then there are 7 years of secondary education for our pupils. So, that goes from the ages of 11 to 18 years of age. And in the UK, these are called year 7 to year 13. Most UK pupils generally stay in full-time education until they're 18, whether that be a college, a sixth form, or an apprenticeship. And obviously, some pupils will leave at 16 to do some slightly different tailored types of training, like I mentioned earlier, apprenticeships or at colleges. So the English examination system for sort of our public exams, they start off with something called the GCSE, which is the General Certificate of Secondary Education. Now, this is taken in year 11 by students, and this is sort of typically in year 9 or 10, they'll be choosing which subject they choose for their GCSEs. And then they will take the exams in their final year 11. So these students tend to be around 15 or 16 years of age. Most pupils will generally take between 7 to 10 GCSEs across a range of subjects that could include sort of maths, English, generally one science and one foreign language. These exams are graded 1 to 9, 9 being the highest level that can be achieved. And for some of the higher profile courses, the higher ranked courses at universities, particularly around medicine, pupils would be looking to typically get nines and eights in about 5 or 6 of their subjects, sometimes even higher. So, moving on from that, post 16, students have a number of options. But if they're trying to go to university, the two typical routes they take are the A levels or the international baccalaureate. So, A levels are taken in what is called year 13. It's a 2 year study period. So, when they're 16 to 18, they sort of take these exams. Normally, it will be around 3 or 4, sort of the 3 or 4 A levels, and they'll be studying at a sixth form or college to do those. By getting those A levels, getting them, having strong scores, they'll be able to access a variety of different universities. The other route is something called the IB or the International Baccalaureate. This is also taken in what is called year 13 by sort of 17, 18-year-olds. And obviously, both of these qualifications are incredibly highly regarded in top UK and US universities. And on the successful completion of these exams, the students will be able to directly engage with the university. And then, if want some more information, we've got a link here that gives you some more nuanced information about IB and A level and the differences between them. But the long and short of it is these two options provide the pathway to go in to a university. Now, this brings us on to sort of the key thesis, the key point of this training session and delivery, which is around foundation programs. So, firstly, why do they exist? So, for a lot of international students, they can start a degree course if they have GCSEs or A level or IB equivalents. This gives them a straight path from here into a UK university. Now, the problem that occurs in certain educational systems around the globe is that they don't have pathways that directly link into the likes of an A level or an IB or a GCSE equivalent. So for some of these students, they don't have the ability to translate directly into the UK system. And this is where the foundation year provides such a unique opportunity, as it provides a stopgap or an entry point into the higher education system. So the foundation program might be needed to get them to get them to be ready to actually do the degree. So once the foundation year is fully completed, direct entry can be gained at program level to a UK university. So this is really important. So if you're studying from a nation where the national curriculum doesn't normally enable you to go straight into UK university, no problem. You come over, you do a foundation degree, you get used to the country, you get used to the setting, you level up your English in writing, listening, speaking, and you develop it in all those ways. They mean that when you do go into your degree, A, you have the ability to get onto it, but not only that, you'll also be able to succeed on it because you've obviously had the time to develop your English skills. So, what does a typical foundation pathway include? So, these opportunities enable the students to firstly support their English language development. So, the aim is that by the time you start your degree, your IELTS will be a minimum of 6.5 or a 7. This is something that is really worked on within the foundation pathway. And then the student has to choose what their foundation pathway will be. Now, this often relates to what they were thinking of doing in their full degree anyway. So, for example, if you wanted to do, let's say, a marketing degree at University of Swansea, for example, and you want to do a foundation program, maybe you would do your foundation pathway in business or management. Maybe if they had it for a marketing foundation in marketing, you would do it that way. Maybe you do it a foundation in business administration, but you would typically pick a foundation subject pathway that would enable you to develop some knowledge, some understanding to obviously then transition into your main degree course. But the key point here is that you're leveling up your ability to write, your ability to speak, your ability to contribute in a group. And those that do go through the foundation pathway often find their success rates at the degree are significantly higher because they just had the time to develop their skills. So, moving on to when you can actually start a foundation course. So students can start foundation courses actually from age 16, which is quite interesting. And many of the boarding schools in the UK now offer foundation programs that are really strong and they deliver a significant amount of pastoral care that support students who are arriving from overseas and really give them a whole leveling up experience of of their time in the UK. Typically, students would normally start a foundation course post 18, so they would finish their high school, their qualifications in their country of origin. Then they would think, brilliant, I want to study in the UK, how can I do it? Then what we often suggest is obviously doing the foundation course or something that's called an international year one. So for the foundation course, that would involve you coming over, doing the foundation year, which we will call year zero. Then you'll do your traditional 3 years. So year one of university, year two of university, and year three of university. Now, if you did something called an international year one, this is a slightly nuanced version where you'll come over, you'll do your international year one, but then you will go straight onto your degree year two, then into your degree year three, and then you would finish. This obviously cutting off a year of the program. And for certain students, this does work. But for a lot of students that we work with, we often recommend the foundation year and obviously taking it to 4 years because it gives you the time to get used to the UK, get used to the culture, get used to the ways of doing things, the academic writing, the ways of working within the university, because it enables you to extract the most value out of the degree. And when we work with all of our counselors across the globe, we're really keen on supporting them in the foundation pathway because it gives their students the highest chance and possibility of succeeding. And for me and for us at UK Education Guide, that's all that it's about. It's how do we empower our students across the globe to access the best quality of education, but also the best quality of education that they can succeed at. And for us, that's an incredibly important distinction. So, moving on to what types of foundation programs exist. So the two typical types that we have is one where you'll be attached to a specific university. So, for example, we like the University of Swansea today, so we're going to go with that one. I'm going to do a foundation degree at the University of Swansea, and then I'm going to transition and do my full degree at the University of Swansea. However, there's also an alternate option which is where you choose a foundation course that has access to multiple universities. We're going to, in a moment, go on to some case studies that highlight some of the positives and negatives of both of these strategies or different ways of entry, because there's definite pros and cons to each. So, a foundation course at that specific university, you've got the added advantage of that you're straight in, you know where you are, you don't have to move, you're all set up, you're all settled there, and that makes sense for some students. However, if you, I mean, now is a great example with COVID, lack of travel, and the fact that people aren't often able to check out their destination. You don't have the ability to necessarily know exactly where you want to be. And this is why sometimes, particularly at the moment, option two is a really good option. Then again, your student might have family in the UK, they might be based in London, and then option one makes the world of sense to them. So, what I'm going to go do now is I'm going to briefly delve into a case study. Right, so let's dive into the case studies. So, the first one we have up is Rohith. So, Rohith knew that he wanted to study at the University of Swansea, and he really liked the electrical engineering course there. But he knew that his qualifications didn't necessarily meet the requirements, and thus he would have to take a foundation course first. He'd visited Swansea, he liked the town, and was happy to take the foundation course on the Swansea campus, knowing that he would take the degree there too. He was 100% clear on the location and the subject he wanted to study. Now, this is absolutely paramount when selecting option one. He is now in his second year of the degree, and having passed his foundation course and successfully transitioned into the degree course, he is now enjoying life in Swansea and is also located close to his younger sister, who is currently studying in a boarding school just 20 miles away. So this one's really important, and he's actually managed to sort of tie it all into one, be really comfortable with the course, be really comfortable with the location, and this is really important because if you don't marry all those things together, it can be a real challenge. So taking the time to speak to your students and actually understand what is right for them, it is incredibly important. Now, moving on to the second case study, which is with Beatrice. So when we first started talking to Beatrice, she wouldn't stop talking about London. Absolutely loved it, loved the idea, had lots of friends that have talked about the idea and wanted to do it, and was really interested in doing both a foundation and a degree program there. Now, the more and more we spoke with her and her family, and as you counselors will completely understand that it's a case of having to understand the needs of the family and the student, and it became more clear that actually she wasn't necessarily sure on London, and actually she would be quite nervous to study in the city so different. So it was really great to be able to ascertain that and to be able to work on it. And also she wasn't completely clear on where exactly she wanted to study biology, if that makes sense. So she knew she wanted to study biology, but wasn't sure exactly which University of London college was the one that she wanted to study at. So we suggested that she have a look at a couple of videos, some city tours of Oxford and Cambridge, and have a look at some of the foundation programs that were based in those cities. So she had a look, went away, and came back absolutely loving Oxford, which is obviously great news. And we found a great foundation course for her that had a great track record of placing students at these top UK universities. And this seemed like a really, really positive solution. And the real final bit of this was that part of this particular foundation course provided significant mentoring support with completion of the UCAS application. So this making sure that the student will have the best chance of getting from the foundation course to the degree course they want. The great news is Beatrice will arrive in the UK in Jan 2022, complete her foundation course in Oxford by the end of July 2022, and obviously having the support throughout that, developing her English, developing employability skills, developing the stuff on her foundation degree, creating that high quality UCAS application. She will then start her degree in September 2022. So all really impressive stuff. And for Beatrice, it just made lots of sense. And giving her the freedom to then go on from there and work out exactly what she wants to do, where she wants to go, enabling her to have a bit of a trial, almost a try before you buy, with regards to cities, which made lots of sense. And option one and option two for different people, different ones make sense. And obviously, as you all know, it's important to ascertain what is correct for the student that you work with. So this is really paramount, and we thought these case studies would help you all kind of garner slightly more of an understanding of how we work with our students, and also how you can help support your students in getting on their foundation pathways and on their journey to studying in the UK. So the next little bit we're going to take a brief look at is we're going to have a quick look at the process that we take our students on, the journey we take them through, empowering them to join us in the UK through the foundation process. So we kick off with what is called a written brief. So we talk with the student and their families with a free consultation, and we support them in kind of flagging out, ironing out what kind of things they might be interested in doing. We then help them create a course shortlist. Now, for some students, it's absolutely enough. We leave it there and we support them to the course shortlist. And then we say, brilliant, you guys crack on, apply. And that's great. The students we support to that level. Some of our students want even more support. So we coach them through the university tours, the final course selection, and even to the point of signposting visa application people. So, what's really interesting about us, we don't personally handle the visa support process, but we work with legal professionals that enable us to do so. We only work with registered legal firms. And you will all be amazed to know it still shocks us to this day. But we have never had a visa refused. We know how important visas are for our international students. So we only work with top providers. And thus we tend to not have any problems. And that's just the way that we work. And then finally, we make sure we stay in good contact with the student as they arrive in the UK, just to be a sort of a friendly voice in the country. But our experts have significant expertise and knowledge in the higher education provision around the UK. And we like to spend our time and take our time working with our students on finding the right process and course for them. Because obviously, all of this is how we can support our students to succeed. It's no more complicated than that. And how we can get them into a university or a foundation pathway that gives them the optimal chance of succeeding. And that's what's incredibly important to us. So if you just take nothing away from today, just hope you've enjoyed this part of the presentation. Hope the case studies have given you a bit of a flavor. But really, the real gem is our website. Make sure you take a little bit of time after the session to have a brief look over our website. It's completely free. There's an abundance of information on there. And we really implore you to just have a look, have a read, and use that free resource as much as you can, because it will really help you and your students develop your understanding of the UK higher education landscape. So, and on that note, obviously, if you have any questions or any queries, we're always here to answer them. And it's been an absolute pleasure delivering this session. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed delivering it. And we look forward to guiding you and your students through the foundation selection process. If you have any questions, queries, we'd love to hear from you. We work with lots of schools, lots of counsellors across multiple countries. So if you'd like to book in a webinar, please don't hesitate to reach out. We deliver them to parents, students, and students with special educational needs. We're more than comfortable to deliver to whatever stakeholder group you have. But it's been an absolute pleasure. So we hope you've enjoyed the session. We look forward to catching up with you at events. And a massive thank you to BMI for having us. And have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.